that same chemistry teacher, and he was actually like, yeah, Blessing is probably going to fail at this rate. Like, she's definitely going to fail. Oh my gosh, I was so sad. Like, genuinely, I was like heartbroken. I was on my, you know when people on the wall, like they like sink down crying, like slide down the wall. That was me. I was on my bed, I was on wall sliding down, like, how did I do that? Literally, I was like that. And this was one of the most difficult processes that I've ever gone through. Like, if I didn't get rejected from all those top universities that I wanted to go to, I wouldn't have met those two lovely ladies. And this is a different video. Like, you're in the hot seat. This is the hot seat. I'm back in the hot seat, and today I'm bringing the element of story times. Story times. You guys don't know me, genuinely. Like, I was just thinking about this the other day. You guys have no idea who I am. You just know me as the girl that talks about sales online, but that's not enough. I want you guys to actually come into my life, get to know me a bit more, because there's so many layers. The reason why I'm running is because I literally ran back because, because of, I don't know, that's a whole nother story another day. But I literally ran back because I said, like, you know what, I need to start on time. So I came back on time. But you guys do not know who I am. Genuinely speaking, you have no idea who Blessing Joshua is. And I'm going to be revealing this more in 2025. And I'm starting now. It's actually it's the 30th of December. And I'm literally starting now because this is another reason why it's important to receive, to be around the right people. Because I got a prophetic word from one of the people I look up to, one of my leaders. And it's a blessing. Like, people don't know you on YouTube. They don't know who you are. Start giving more story times, letting people know about your life. So I'm going to give you guys, I'm going to start off with saying that rejection is realignment. And you might be thinking, what do I mean by rejection is realignment? So think about all the times you've been rejected. Like, I want you to just think about the times you've been rejected and the times you were so sad about that rejection, but then it's worked out in your favor. So for me, oh my goodness, for me, this is where I'm headed. This is story time. It's going to be about the rejection that I won, the rejection that I cried so hard about is the same rejection that has led me and aligned me with my purpose and the woman I am today. Because if it wasn't for that time, if it wasn't for that rejection that I got, if it wasn't for the opportunity that I didn't get, I wouldn't be here sitting in this hot seat talking to you guys today. So today, we're going to speak about rejection, and it might be a tough topic. I've grown to become more accustomed to it. I've grown to learn to love and embrace the process because it's not nice. It's not an easy thing. It's not something that anyone likes. Like, let's be real. Rejection hurts. Like, it's painful. It's not something that you want to experience. It's not something you look forward to experiencing, but it builds you up. Trust me, because one thing I've come to learn and understand is that when you are walking in alignment with God's will, certain things that you thought was you walking in alignment with his will happens to not be that. And then you start to get confused. Oh my gosh, like, God, like, I thought you wanted me to do this. I thought you wanted me to head this way, but why are you putting me this way? Or why am I held back? Or why am I not going forward? Or why am I not going right? Why am I not going left? Like, it doesn't make sense. And I get it. Like, let me get into the story. Because, I'm going to get into the story now. So let me take you guys back to when I was about 16. So at this point, I just finished my GCSEs, my secondary school. So I just finished secondary school. So if you don't know what secondary school is, if you're American and you're watching this, it's high school, essentially. So I just finished high school, and now I was coming to the point where I was doing my A-levels. So my secondary school results, my GCSE results were pretty decent. They weren't as good as I expected, but it was still decent. Like, it was still pretty good. Like, I still got A's and A stars, but I wanted to get more A stars than A's, but I didn't. So that's what happened. And I was like, cool, my dreams of going into medical school will still happen. My dreams, quote unquote, because they were never my dreams. They were the dreams of my parents, but that's a story for another day. So I had my dream of going to medical school. So I was like, my GCSE's not that bad. I just need to make sure that I get good A-levels, which is the stage after. And if you're American and you're watching this, A-levels, essentially that stage before you enter university. So there's like a few qualifications you probably have to do before you get into university, and that's what I did. Cool. So 16 now, I'm 16 years old now, I'm going into my A-levels, and I picked English, biology, chemistry, and physical education, which was like sports science. And I obviously did that, but I did that with the intention of going into medical school. And I was excited to do it. I didn't want to do 4 A-levels, like genuinely speaking, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do 3, but because of the sixth form I was in, I believe that they gave you the option to do 4 A-levels. And I started off with 4, or you had to do 4 for a certain amount of time and then you dropped it. I can't remember, but I did start off with 4, and I didn't want to because I knew that A-levels, people kept saying A-levels were hard already. So I just said, listen, I want to make life as easy as possible for myself, and I wanted to do 3, but then my parents were saying, no, do 4, it's going to look better on your personal statement, on your application for university. And I listened, and people were telling me, you don't need to do 4, you do not need to do 4, but I still did it anyway. Anyways, that was error number 1. Cool. So started A-levels, and honestly, this was one of the most difficult processes that I've ever gone through. Like, it was very traumatic for me. A-levels was extremely traumatic for me. And it wasn't more so the lifestyle around A-levels, because I was still okay. Like, I was developing as a person. I developed a lot. My character really developed during the A-levels. But outside of A-levels, I was fine. But inside A-levels, I was struggling. The content was flogging me. Listen, I would go into my chemistry lesson scared because I wouldn't be able to, because I knew that it's like I already conditioned and reprogrammed my mind and said, you know what, like, I'm not going to be able to get this. I know this organic chemistry today is going to kill me. I know that I'm not going to understand it. So I always had that mindset going into my chemistry lessons, and I just never understood anything because my mindset already was quite warped. Like, it wasn't good. So I was always going into those lessons with that mindset. And then biology was a bit better because I enjoyed it a bit more, but still I had that, like, I had a massive, looking back, like, I had a massive limiting belief that I couldn't do well in A-levels. I don't know why. Like, I think I kind of went into that sort of stage of my life thinking, oh my gosh, it's going to be difficult. Because GCSEs was pretty easy for me because I didn't do that much revision. I still managed to get A's and A stars. But A-levels, yeah, that was a different ballgame. And I wasn't prepared for that, to be honest. I really wasn't. And the thing is with A-levels, if you don't start well and you don't catch up as long, like, you have so many gaps in your knowledge and your learning, it's so hard to build on a weak foundation in A-levels because you need a solid foundation. You need to understand the basics. If you don't understand the basics, how can you apply your knowledge? And with A-levels, it's all about application. GCSEs, it's just a memory game. And I was fine with that. A-levels was a different ball game. And I really learned a lot. So I did, yeah. So as I was saying, I was doing 4 A-levels and I was struggling a lot. I hated going into lessons. I just hated everything because I just didn't like it. I felt like I wasn't getting it. I felt like the teachers at the time also weren't understanding me. Also, I felt like the teachers were also they were really belittling me, actually. Like, genuinely speaking, I'd go to, especially the chemistry teacher, I'd go to him and say, look, I want to apply for med school. I still had that belief that, you know what, like, I can still do med school. Like, I still really wanted to push that agenda. And I even did like whole work experience in a hospital. Like, it was really good. The work experience I got was really competitive and it was really good. And that was just favor from God because I didn't even know how I managed to land that. People were saying that they were struggling to get work experience. Me, I just landed. That's by the grace of God. Anyway, that's another story for another day. But yeah, so I got the work experience, and that was also one of the things that really motivated me to want to pursue this even more. And then that happened. So then after that, I said, look, like, I went to my chemistry teacher. I said, look, I want to pursue this properly. I want to go for med school. And then he would be like, you, med school? Better go apply for something else. You're not capable of that. Knocked again my confidence again. That knocked my confidence fully. And then I vividly remember my A-levels. I had a meeting. You know when you do parents' evening, like my parents came into my school, and I spoke to that same chemistry teacher, and he was actually like, yeah, Blessing is probably going to fail at this rate. Like, she's definitely going to fail. He was like this. Yeah, like, I'm really concerned, like, seriously concerned. Every single time I did a test, every single time I answered a question at the end, or answered a question during a lesson, he would always tell me, I'm really concerned about you, Blessing, like, really concerned. And he'd always tell me that. And it's like, okay, you're concerned, but you're not helping me. So this concerning thing is like you're half-heartedly concerned. You're not fully concerned about it, are you? Because if you really were concerned, you'd tell me the steps in order the steps for me to make in order for me to progress. But he didn't. Like, he was always putting me on the spot. He was always trying to challenge me. Always, like, not challenge me in a way that was conducive for me to grow, but challenging me in a way that almost felt like he was trying to embarrass me. I don't know. That's what I felt at the time. Maybe I didn't interpret it. Maybe the way I'm interpreting it is not in alignment with what he wanted to, the results he wanted to help me deliver. But anyways, that happened. So yeah, back to the parents evening. I remember he told me that, and in front of my parents, and mom was actually crying. She was like, oh my gosh, like, how did you even get to here, Blessing? How did you get to here? Like, what happened? What went wrong? You did well in your GCSEs. What's happened in your A-levels? And I couldn't answer. Like, I genuinely couldn't put a finger on it. But it was, in hindsight, it was all down to the mindset that I had. The mindset I had wasn't good. And that really threw me off my A-levels. But I'm going to go back to the main point. Rejection is realignment and redirection, actually. So yeah, that happened. And then based on the predicted results my teachers gave me, which were rubbish, I wasn't able to apply for many good universities, as in like top universities. So like my choices that I had, that I applied for, I didn't want to go to any of them, I'll be honest. I think there was one that I was okay with going, but the rest of them, I didn't want to go to any of them. I was like, yeah, like, I'm just applying because just so I can get myself in the UCAS system, just so I can actually get myself in the system. So when it comes to results day and I get better results, I can start applying for the proper unis and the top ones and the ones I actually want to go to. I remember I really wanted to go to Warwick to study biomedical science because I knew that, yeah, okay, maybe I don't have enough good enough results. I didn't even have the predicted grades to get into medical school. So I said, you know what, let me just apply for biomedical science. And I wasn't able to apply for Warwick because of my A-levels predictions that were really bad. So I had to just apply for other universities. So that happened. Fast forward to results day. This was one of the worst days of my life. Well, at the time. Now that I look back, it was one of the best days of my life. But at the time, it was one of the worst days ever because I did so badly in my A-levels that I didn't even get into the choices that I applied for that I didn't even want to go to, apart from one. And I'll get onto that in a second. So that, oh my gosh, I was so sad. Like, genuinely, I was like heartbroken. I was on my, you know when people on the wall, like they like sink down crying, like slide down the wall. That was me. I was on my bed, I was on wall sliding down, like, how did I do that? Literally, I was like that. And I said, yeah, like, God, what's going on? What's actually going on? Why am I not, like, why did I get anything? Like, I thought I could prove that teacher wrong. I thought I could prove that chemistry teacher wrong. I thought I could prove all these people wrong. Hey, all I did was prove all their points. That was all I did. I didn't do anything more than that. But anyways, moving from there, it was such a sad day for me. And as I mentioned, the only university that I got into was the worst choice, the lowest of the lowest choice that was on my list of universities that I applied for. And guess what? That university degree was a biomedical science degree, but it was a foundation year. I said, Lord. So I'm doing 4 years. Instead of 3 years, I'm doing 4 years because of how badly I've done. An extra year of my life. And my parents were like, girl, what? My parents were like, what have you done? What have you done, Blessing? You see your life? But they still, my parents were like, you know what, like, it is what it is. You just have to do what you got to do. At least you got an offer into university. And I said, yeah, you're right. At least I did get some sort of offer. So that happened. And I remember calling the university, like, just to check if I've done everything right, if I've enrolled correctly. And then they said, oh, your name is Blessing Joshua, right? Yeah, we want to fast track you. We want to fast track you to the standard 3-year degree. And that was the first sign of this being the will of God. Because why would they fast track me? Like, with those results that I got, I deserve to be in the foundation. Why did they fast track me? I don't know. Genuinely speaking, to this day, I mean, I do know, but at the time I was like, why would you do that? Like, why would you even trust me? Why would you trust me to fast track myself? Why? So that 4-year degree that was including the foundation year now turned to 3-year degree. And I said, wow, God is good. Like, God is good. Like, how did this happen? So that happened. And then Yeah, and then I moved on from that, and I was still upset, to be honest. I still didn't want to go to that university. I was still really sad about it, but I was a bit happy that, you know what, this is some sort of something's there for me. For them to just fast track me, there must be something there for me. Okay, so fast forward now, a couple months later, and I started, you know, I think the next 2 months later, because that university, we start uni a bit later than others, so it was around October, and I got my results in August. So yeah, fast forward a few months later, I started uni, and I had the mindset of, look, I'm not here to talk to anyone. I even got a place in one of the furthest accommodations to the campus possible, because I said I want to lock in. I'm not making any friends. I didn't even know anyone, so I was like, great, this is perfect for me. Perfect environment for me to be by myself, for me to lock in, for me to get first class, or for me to, like, even at one point I said, you know what, I'm going to apply. I said, I'm going to apply for universities where they can offer some sort of, I'm going to do really well in my first year. So this is what happened. I'm going to do really well in my first year so I can apply for other universities in time for my second year, so I can fast track onto like a medical course, which was actually possible at the time. I think it's still a thing that happens. Like, you can like join a cohort in the second year if you do exceptionally well in your first year. So that was my aim. I was like, you know what, I'm going to get 90%. I'm going to smash it. All these things, and I was on it. So yeah, got the furthest accommodation possible because I didn't want to be with everyone else, all the commoners, and all everyone else partying. I was like, nah, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm all into my university right now. So I had that mindset because I was just really hurt that I didn't get to go where I wanted to. So I owed it to myself. I said I owe this to myself to prove myself that I can do it. Okay, so then we move forward from there, and now I think it was like the first day in or second day in, I was like, yo, I was in a few group chats and I said, oh my gosh, there's a few meetups happening. Like, meetups, they were actually parties. So I said, you know what, like, I'm by myself, I'm gonna be a bit bored, like, bless it, come on, lighten up a bit. So what I did was I started to actually look for motives to go to. And the first one that came up was a moving day. It was a moving day motive, actually. And I was gassed. I was like, you know what, like, let me just try this out. I don't know anyone. Like, let me at least make one friend. Just one. So I went to, I made one friend. No, sorry. So then I went to the motive, actually. I did go. And even though I made a vow to myself that I'm not going to do any of that, but I still did. Anyways, like, I still did. And that honestly was pivotal for me. And I met, I was with myself, and I met someone that I'd known from, because I used to do athletics when I was younger. So when I was like about when I was in secondary school, so from like 13 to like all the way up until the end of sixth form, so that was about 18. So I was training at a club in my local club, athletics club, and I knew a guy from there, and I saw that same guy in my uni. I was like, how did you get here? Like, how did you get here? Oh, I didn't even know you were coming. And I was like, oh my gosh, great. So I know someone, but at the end of the day, he was a man. I was like, I need a woman. I need girlfriends. I need at least one girlfriend. So he was with two girls, and he said, look, my friends are here. Like, do you want to say hi to them? And I said, oh yeah, why not? And then I found out one of them was doing law, and she was really nice. Her name was called Mary. And another one was doing my course, biomedical science. Her name was Ogo. And I was like, great, like, oh my gosh, I get to speak to people, like, I get to speak to these girls, and they seem pretty cool. And then we just became closer ever since, and that was pivotal. Me meeting them and me being there at that time was really pivotal. And if I didn't go to this university, I don't think I would have met these people. And all the great things that I accomplished and started off with them, I wouldn't have started if I didn't go to that uni. And this is why I say rejection is realignment, because I was realigned to my purpose because I met my first ever business partners in this university. These friends that I met became my business partners. We became so close that we set up a community together that I think within 2 weeks, we managed to get 2,000 women within our community. 2,000 women joined us within 2 weeks. No, sorry. I think it was in 2 to 4 weeks of setting up our community. Like, do you know, we impacted thousands of women, because at the time we were teaching women how to get into investing and cryptocurrency and all these different things. And because a lot of men talk about it, but not a lot of women talk about it. So we were literally, at the time, one of the only few women that were talking about it. And it was just after lockdown. I think it was when things were easing off a bit and people wanted to still learn about money and still learn about how to make money online. So we did that. We became the authority in the space, in the marketplace for the sector of investing. And I'm just thinking, I learned so much. Like, generally speaking, I learned so much about marketing. I learned so much about serving people, community building, just so much about just the foundations of business. So for instance, like, we didn't know what we were doing. So what we would do is we'd have all these people join us and we'd be like, guys, how are we going to serve these people? What can we do to offer them? So the first thing we thought of was, oh my gosh, usually we get £10 an hour if we were to work a normal job. Let's charge these people £10 for half an hour for having a one-to-one consultation with us. So that's exactly what we did. We started charging £10 coaching. We started having £10 coaching calls. So people would book us and they'd speak to us for 30 minutes and we would consult them about crypto and investing for £10. And we're like, damn guys, this is crazy. £10 for half an hour of work. Great. And I don't need to go anywhere in the world. I don't need to leave my house. I can just do it on my laptop at home. We were so happy. But I just, even though that's, obviously if I could go back in time, I wouldn't do that. And it wasn't that great because some people didn't take it seriously. But anyways, that's not the point I'm trying to make. I'm just trying to make the point that of, like, if I didn't go to that university, if I didn't get rejected from all those top universities that I wanted to go to, I wouldn't have met those two lovely ladies and I wouldn't have been able to, like, I don't think the way in which I think now would be this advanced this soon if I didn't meet these two ladies, genuinely speaking, because I feel like I went through some sort of fast track being with them, because 2 is always better than 1, 3 is always better than 2. A 3-stranded cord is harder to break. It says that in the word. A 3-stranded cord is always harder to break. And we were, at the time, we were inseparable. We were on it, like on it. We were always posting. We had a lot of people reaching out to us. We had a lot of attention. And I learned a lot about how to just steward these people and how to steward finances to some extent as well. And that really opened doors for meeting other people. I met some great people because of the personal brand that we had. It opened many doors to great people. Like, people that I would personally watch on YouTube were the people that were becoming people that were prominent figures in my network. And I was like, how is this happening? Like, imagine if I didn't go to this university, I wouldn't have met these two girls. And perhaps I could have probably still done some sort of personal branding online or created content online or done some sort of investing content, but I don't think it would have been the same. No way. I genuinely speaking, I don't think it would have been the same. So this video is just to encourage you. Sometimes you go through certain seasons in life. For me, it started off right from my A-levels, where I struggled so much. And I think God was teaching me a lot of lessons there. But then he also taught me that patience is required. Because I really learned a lot about patience then. I learned a lot about just people, I learned that not everyone is going to root for you, because I kind of lived in this bubble where everything was working so well and everyone around me, because my family is so encouraging. I had a lot of people, my friends that were around me, that were really encouraging as well. So everyone was always encouraging me and it was always my corner. But in A-levels, it kind of came like a shock to me, like, oh my gosh, not everyone encourages you, not everyone wants you to succeed. And I saw that from my teacher, the very person I thought would actually encourage me to want to push for med school, encourage me to want to apply for a top uni, was the same person that was putting me down. So I believe that season was for a reason, and that led me to a rejection that was needed for me to be realigned to my purpose. Because if I was smashing in my A-levels, if it was really encouraging me, perhaps I would have got different results and I would have been at a top university. But would I be sitting down here in this hot seat talking to you guys if I didn't get rejected? No, I don't think I would be. I think I would be in a corporate bank or corporate job working a 9-to-5 and not having the time to really put effort into speaking to you guys. So I'd say, like, listen, if you are in season where you think things are not working out, I'm just here to encourage you that things are working out for good. And it says in the word that all things work together for good for those that love God according to his plan. So everything will work together for good. You just need to trust that the season that you're in is for a reason, and God is building your character so you can endure more later. Because if it's not working for you, it's working on you. And you may not see how it's working on you. You may think, oh my gosh, what is going on? Like, why is this happening to me? It's fine as humans to have these questions. Like, we don't think, you know, we're not God at the end of the day. God's thoughts are not our thoughts, and his ways are not our ways. So it might seem confusing, but you just have to trust that, look, he wants the good for me. Like, God wants the best for me. He's not going to put me in a situation that I can't even get out. He won't put me in a situation that I can't even handle. So have that mindset that whatever I'm going through is for a reason, and this season is going to end soon. And if it doesn't end, it's a cycle, and then that's when you have to start doing like spiritual warfare and start praying against cycles, because you're not meant to be in that sort of position for a very, very long time. Maybe you are, and long to you may not be long to God. So it's about understanding that, you know, everything is still going to work together for good. All things, not some things, all things work together for good for those that love God. So guys, I want to say that rejection is realignment. And I'm going to leave it there. I hope you enjoyed my story time. I'm going to be doing more of these in this hot seat, this glamorous hot seat in my office. Nothing crazy, but as you can see, my whiteboard is right next to me. But yeah, like, I hope this encouraged you, and make sure you subscribe, comment down below any questions or thoughts that you have. If you can relate to what I'm saying, comment down below, and I'd love to interact with you guys and stay connected. So I will see you in my next video. Bye.